this is the sign that shows that there is chance of electric shock at particular place. So wherever you see this signboard, you be careful that there are chances of electric shock here. Now, first question, our body is conductor or insulator? So definitely our body is conductor, clear. So if our body is insulated, definitely there is no chance of getting electric shock, okay, but our body is conductor. Okay, what makes it conductor? So our body is made up of 60 to 70% of water. Our body is made up of 60 to 70% of water, and just by water it is not becoming conductor. This water also contains electrolytes like in case of calcium ions, potassium ions, sodium ions, chloride ions, all these are electrolytes, clear. So that is making our body conductor. So let us see one advertisement. Okay, it shows the importance of water in our body. It also explains that there is 70% of water in our body, as well as we have minerals also, clear. So just see this advertisement.
तो पीने का पानी हो सिर्फ साफ, सिर्फ सेफ, सिर्फ शुद्ध। क्यों?
क्योंकि हमारा शरीर है 70% पानी
और इस शरीर को चाहिए मिनरल।
Now, as shown in advertisement, our body is made up of 70% of the water. So lowermost part of the body, 70% part of the body was shown that it is made up of water only. So it was just one visual illustration. Throughout the body we have 60 to 70% of water as well as many number of electrolytes, clear. So this water and electrolytes, the presence of them will make our body conductor. Okay, so that is allowing the electric current to enter into our body. Now what is electric shock actually? So electric shock is painful stimulation of the sensory nerves. So just remember, whenever you are giving electric current to your body, so initially for few milliamperes you will not feel. So it is like the body has not crossed the threshold, so you are not feeling. Later on you are increasing intensity, so patient will start feeling. Yeah, so that is nothing but sensory level stimulation. After that, if you increase the intensity, you will be having muscle contraction, so that is motor level stimulation. Even after that, if you increase the intensity, it is your pain level stimulation or noxious level stimulation. So we can say there are three levels of stimulation: sensory level, motor level and noxious level. So based on the level of intensity, you will be having either only sensory level stimulation or only motor level stimulation, or you may have noxious level, that is pain level stimulation, clear. So if it is less, it is involving only sensory nerves. If it is more, it may involve motor nerves also, and if it is quite more, it can involve your pain also, clear. Now when this electric shock occurs, so this electric shock occurs definitely when we touch any source of electricity. So whenever you have contact with your body as well as any source of electricity, you will be victim of electric shock, and this electric shock will enter into your body either through skin or muscle or sometimes by hair also. Now electric shock, it is always, this word is used to tell you that it is unwanted exposure to electricity. Unwanted means if you are giving electrical stimulation intentionally, like in clinical setup you are giving current to your patient, so it is not considered as electric shock. Why? Because you are giving it intentionally. It is not unwanted exposure to electricity, it is wanted, or with concern of patient you are giving this, and patient also knows that the current will be entering into my body. But when we talk of electric shock as one of the hazard, clear, so it is unwanted exposure to electricity, so definitely the effects are also not desirable, because whatever electric current we are giving in clinical setup, all the parameters they are under control of physiotherapist, clear. So definitely we will control the parameters in such a way that it is not harming the patient. But in case of electric shock, they are not under our control, so there are chances of undesirable effects to victim's body. Now shock is one type of the occupational hazard. Occupational hazard means what? So few complications they are already associated with particular occupation. Clear? For example, if someone is driver, so accident may happen at any time, so his life is at risk, so that is one of the occupational hazard. If someone is computer operator, so neck pain, eyes burning sensations, all these are different types of occupational hazard. If someone is labor, so by lifting the weight, patient may have back pain. Okay, if you think of tennis player, so elbow pain is very common. So all these are occupational hazard. So our physiotherapy department is full of all this electronic equipment, so it is possible that electric shock may happen at any point. Okay, it may be with the patient, this incidents may happen with physiotherapist also, and that is happening also. It is not like that it occurs once in a 50 years, it's not like that, it is happening frequently. So at that point, what you need to do, that you should know. Clear? So as a physiotherapist, we have to understand the electric shock in detail. Now before we jump to electric shock, let us revise two types of the electric current. One is direct current and another is alternating current. So direct current means the current is flowing in one direction only, that you can see in the left side of the slide. So current is flowing in one direction only. Okay, and in alternating current, current is changing its direction continuously. Current is changing its direction continuously. Now as we can see, in direct current, intensity is constant, and in case of alternating current, intensity is changing continuously. So now when we think of accommodation, or when we think of this adaptation, so that is possible in case of direct current, but that is not possible in case of alternating current. So direct current means, for example, I would like to say, if you are in open ground, okay, the ground is having atmosphere temperature of 40 degrees Celsius, and you also have one air conditioned car. So when you go from 40 degrees Celsius open ground, you are entering into the car. Yes, so car is having, just for example, 28 degrees Celsius. So initially when you sit from 40 degrees Celsius to 28 degrees Celsius, you will feel that okay, car is cold. Okay, you will enjoy, but after 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes, you will not get that cold sensation continuously. Then you will be habitual to that cold atmosphere. Okay, again when you go outside from the car, that is from 28 degrees Celsius, you are entering into hot atmosphere in open ground or open highway, and that has atmospheric temperature of 40 degrees Celsius. So when you enter into 40 degrees Celsius from 28 degrees Celsius, so initially you will feel heat, but later on you will be habitual. For example, if you are playing on the ground cricket, you are playing on the 40 degrees Celsius or even 42 degrees Celsius, so you are not getting that sensation continuously, this is hot, this is hot, this is hot. Okay, you will be getting habitual. Clear? So why? Because continuously single intensity, like if you are playing in 40 degrees Celsius, so you are playing with 40 degrees Celsius only for a prolonged period of time. So you are getting adaptation, you are getting accommodation. In Gujarati it is anukulan. Clear? But if it is continuously changing, for example, you are in 30 seconds in car, you are in hot atmosphere again for 30 seconds, again 30 seconds in air conditioned car, again 30 seconds in hot ground, so your body will not be adapted. Clear? That's why you will be having no accommodation in case of alternating current. Now difference between electric shock caused by DC and AC. So in case of DC, minimum 5 milliampere will be required, but in case of AC, 1 milliampere will be sufficient to feel. Clear? Why in DC you will need more intensity? Because some of the intensity will be accommodated by your body. Clear? Because it is continuously coming. So minimum 5 milliampere it is required. Okay, now another thing, whenever we are discussing this intensity, especially in terms of current, so we always have to consider that it is in milliampere. It is in milliampere. Clear? Because 1 ampere will not be possible to be tolerated by any human body. So you need at least milliampere. Okay, but when you talk of volt, so it is simply volt. Okay, millivolt will be too less for human body. Clear? So in short, current, when we are talking of human body, it will be always in milliampere, and when we talk of voltage for human body, it is always only volt. Okay, millivolt will be too less. Now when this damage will start, like tissue damage or ventricular fibrillation. Ventricular fibrillation means the lower chambers of the heart, they are getting fibrillation. Clear? So they will stop beating. So ultimately you will not be having proper blood circulation in your body because the lower chambers, ventricles, they have stopped working. Clear? So for that it is possible only when if the victim is getting 300 to 500 milliampere of DC, but the same damage it is happening at 60 milliampere when you are thinking of AC. Now in this AC, what we are talking about, it is having frequency of 60 Hertz, because whenever we think of AC, we should specify frequency also. In DC it is not changing its direction, so there is no meaning of telling any type of frequency, because if it is changing its direction, then there will be question of frequency. Otherwise the DC has no frequency. Clear? So this is AC of 60 Hertz. Okay, and at 60 milliampere, the same damage that will be possible, that is ventricular fibrillation, cardiac arrest, and the same with DC, it may take up to 300 to 500 milliampere of DC. So definitely with direct current, there are chances of accommodation, adaptation, so the effects are less severe, and in case of AC, the effects of electric shock will be more severe. Now, which are the causes of electric shock? So there are three causes: sudden onset, sudden termination, and sudden large variation. Sudden large variation again can be divided into two: sudden increase or sudden decrease. Okay, sudden onset, for example, you are doing electrode placement for your patient. Someone has already used your machine before you. Clear? So the person who used this machine before you has not kept intensity knob at 0. Okay, he has directly switched off from mains or from standby switch. Now what happens when you come for electrode placement? Clear? So you are, when you do switch on this machine, at that time there will be excessive intensity that will be directly entering into patient's body, and patient may get electric shock. This can be explained with one simple example. For example, someone is watching movie, there is too much noise in the atmosphere, so he is keeping the volume at the highest level. Okay, now he is switching off the TV, okay, but he is not reducing the volume. Okay, now after 2-3 hours, 4 hours, you are coming to switch on your TV. Okay, at that time there is silent atmosphere. Okay, when it was required, it was done at highest level. Okay, volume was increased up to the maximum level, but now it is not required. It is 11 o'clock or 11:30 at night, so there is quite silence. Yeah, in that case, when you switch on the TV, so directly there will be high volume or maximum volume. Clear? So that is actually not advice for you, or that is not acceptable by you. Clear? So here also it is possible that someone has already used this machine before you. Okay, so, and you have not seen that electricity intensity knob is at 0, and you directly switch on the machine, and you will be having electric shock to your patient. Sudden termination, for example, treatment is already going on when power goes. Clear? Just from PGVCL or GB, power is cut, so patient was already getting few amount of intensity, and drastically it comes to 0. So in that case also patient may get electric shock. Sudden large variation, so that includes sudden increase and sudden decrease. For example, you are talking with your friend, okay, you are also operating machine, or you are talking on mobile, you are also operating machine. So at that time you don't have fine control over the intensity knob in machine, so you may increase it very fast or you may decrease it very fast. Yes, in that case also patient may receive electric shock. Now what is resistance? So many times the death also occurs because of electric shock, and it is known as electrocution. Okay, so for electrocution I would like to show you one video. So it was already happened in Surat city. So one girl was having contact with the ball in the rainy season, and she died within 1 minute on the spot. Yeah, so see this video, and that is nothing but it is known as electrocution. Terminology used is electrocution.
से ही हाथ लगाया, तुरंत ही मौत हो गई। ये न्यूज़ सूरत जो गुजरात में है। देखिए तफसीली रिपोर्ट।
So we know that anytime this electrocution can happen. Yeah, so the voltage necessary for this electrocution will depend on the amount of electric current that is passing through our body as well as duration of current. So definitely if the intensity of the current is more, it is more harmful, and if the duration of the exposure is more, it is also harmful. For example, if it is 50 milliampere and 500 milliampere, so definitely 500 milliampere will be harmful. And duration wise, for example, if we get electric shock for 5 seconds and if we are getting for 1 minute, so definitely 1 minute will be more harmful. Clear? Now Ohm's law. What is Ohm's law? So it is V is equal to IR as per formula, where the V is voltage, I is current, okay, and R is resistance. Clear? So voltage, that is fixed. Voltage, that is fixed. So it depends on I and R now. So many times what happens, that R means it is resistance of the skin. So our resistance of the skin is more, I will be less. And if the resistance of the skin is less, I will be more. Okay, so we can say that electric current and resistance both are inversely proportional. So it is good that if we are having high skin resistance. So generally what is the resistance offered by human skin? So generally it is 1 lakh ohm if our skin is dry. 1 lakh ohm if our skin is dry. Okay, but if the skin is wet, it reduces to 1000 ohms. Yeah, so just by making your hand wet, you are reducing the resistance 100 times. Clear? Directly from 1 lakh ohms to 1000 ohms, so you are reducing 100 times. So definitely if your skin resistance reduces 100 times, intensity felt will be also increased 100 times, because multiplication of current and resistance will be constant. Yeah, so each and every human has different skin resistance. Like it may be 1 lakh ohm for me, it may be 1 lakh 20 lakh ohm for 1 lakh 20,000 for another person. Okay, but it will be nearby only. Clear? And during the different times of the day also it will be different. Now there are two types of the electric shock, and this types they are based on entry of current. Clear? Like one option, so current is entering into your body from the skin, and another is bypassing the skin. For example, if I have no skin because of any reason on particular area, so that area will allow the current to enter inside the body very easily. So that is known as microshock, and if the current is entering through the skin, it is macroshock. Clear? So microshock means from the skin, microshock means bypassing the skin. Now, just for visual illustration, this person in this slide is getting electric shock, and this electric shock, this electricity is entering into his body from this hand. Clear? So macroshock means when the current passes from the skin. Now generally whatever the sockets we are using at home for charging mobile or for TV or for refrigerator, they are delivering alternating current with 50 hertz of frequency, alternating current with 50 hertz of frequency, and the voltage offered is 220 volt. Yes, so on household devices the voltage delivered is 220 volt, and exactly double 220, double of it is 440. So in one of the movie there was one song lage 440 volt. See, so what it's telling, it is safe up to 440 volt, it is safe. More than that it is harmful. Clear? So in this also you can see in the slide, if the voltage is less than 200 volt, then human skin is able to tolerate, nothing will happen. Clear? It is just one type of the discomfortable sensation if you are getting electric shock, but otherwise it is not harmful anatomically as well as physiologically. Clear? But when it crosses more than 450, clear, so person to person it will be different, like it may be 450 for me, it may be 550 for someone, it may be 600 for someone. Okay, so it is different. Breakdown of skin will happen. Yes, skin will be having there is structural normality will be broken. So there will be break in the continuity of skin. Clear? So in that case current will enter into body. Up to this 600 volt you can tolerate maximum. Okay, and that is also variable from person to person, ranging from 450 to 600 volt. Now sometimes even by sweating, that is perspiration, perspire, by that also the skin resistance is reduced. Okay? Now microshock. So in this figure you can see that that lady is having cardiac catheter entry from this right side of the neck. So it is entering into external jugular vein, and from this external jugular vein it is entering into the right atrium of heart. So this cardiac pacemakers, they will be required to introduce drug directly into the heart in case of emergency. Many times if we are giving, or even by injection we are giving drugs, so it will take more time to reach to heart. If you are taking orally, definitely it will take more time, but if you are giving directly into the veins, okay, by injection, so that will also take some time. But directly you can introduce by this cardiac catheters, because they are directly opening into the right atrium. Many times these catheters, they are also used for measurement of the blood pressure into the right atrium, because whatever blood pressure we are learning in physiology, or you have seen that doctors are measuring, so that is from outside, it is arterial blood pressure, it is not heart pressure directly from the chamber. But by this devices you can directly check pressure within right atrium. So here what is actually happening, many times these catheters, they are allowing the passage of electric current. So this is the way from which the electric current will enter into heart, and it is quite dangerous. Clear? When it becomes dangerous, whenever the circuit is established through heart. Yeah? So in this case only 10 microampere current, only 10 microampere current will be sufficient to cause ventricular fibrillation. Ventricular fibrillation means a person will die. There are high chances that person is dead. Clear? So it is generally happening in ICU setups where you have multiple devices like cardiac catheters, pacemakers, etc., etc. Clear? So all these are uh, problems or complications whenever you are thinking of electric shock. Okay? Now, based on severity, the electric shock is classified into three: mild, moderate, and severe. Mild means the victim has no any damage in the structure or function. So anatomy wise, physiology wise, there is no damage. It is just patient has frightened. Okay, patient has become nervous. Patient is anxious. So in that case, no problem will happen. No clinical features will be seen. Moderate. So we have blood vessels, and depending on the size of the blood vessels and amount of blood, you will be having blood pressure. Blood pressure means it is lateral pressure exerted by blood over the inner walls of blood vessels. So whatever the pressure is exerted by blood on inner side of the blood vessels, okay, so it is blood pressure. Now because of electric current, what will happen? The blood vessels will dilate. Okay, so diameter of the blood vessels will increase. So it is known as what? Vasodilatation. It is known as vasodilatation. So it is possible that just because of this vasodilatation there will be reduced blood pressure, because amount of blood is remaining same. Okay, it is 5 liter, so amount is remaining same, but the diameter is increased, so the blood pressure lowers. So in that case, it is possible that it is not reaching to brain properly. So definitely for proper functioning of the brain, what we need is oxygen and glucose. So it is to be transmitted by blood, and the blood pressure itself, it is reduced. Amount of blood delivered to brain, it is less. Okay, blood pressure is low, so amount of blood delivered to brain is also less. So definitely if there is less supply of the blood, brain will also get less oxygen and less glucose, so there are chances of unconsciousness. In severe case, there are chances of termination of respiration and heart function. So patient may stop breathing, patient may stop heart function. Clear? Now, which are the signs and symptoms or clinical features? So it will be burns. Very common, it is burns. So you can see in this figure there is burn. Clear? So skin is already burned and electrodes are already there, that you can see. So why it happens? So you have idea about the Joule's law, that is H is equal to I square RT, where the H is amount of heat, I is intensity of current, R means it is resistance, and T is time. Clear? So based on this formula, the amount of heat produced will be calculated, and sometimes if it is too high, then there are more chances of getting burns, thermal burns. Clear? Ventricular fibrillation. So here the lower chambers of the heart has 4 chambers, we know. So lower 2 chambers, they are known as ventricles, they will stop beating. You can see the ECG. So on the right side only we have ventricular fibrillation ECG. So you can see it is quite irregular. Sometimes it is straight line, means no any heart functioning is there, it is straight line. And here it is in this example, it is irregular heartbeat. Okay, but when you want to compare with the normal ECG, so you have normal ECG in the lower part of this ventricular fibrillation ECG. Clear? So ultimately patient will stop heart functioning. Another effect, it is neurological effect. So neurological effects include tingling, numbness, paresthesia. Tingling means chanjanate. Okay, numbness means soon padi gayi. Okay, and burning sensation throughout the course of nerve. All these are neurological effects. Musculoskeletal effects. So how the muscle is affected and how the bones are affected. So in case of musculoskeletal effect, the muscle may be having tear. Okay, muscle fati jise. Muscle may be having spasm. What is spasm? Spasm means if you are going for trekking, or if you are playing cricket for a prolonged period of time, what you are not doing regularly. If you are not doing any activity regularly and you are doing it on one day, and that is also in high amount, so it is possible that your muscle will be hard on palpation and they will give you pain. Clear? So that is known as spasm. Yeah, so spasm will happen, muscle tear will happen, okay, and in few cases there are chances of fractures also, because if the contraction is so severe because of electric shock, it may result into fracture. Okay, so muscle will pull the chip from the bone from its attachment. Another clinical features or signs and symptoms are irregular breathing, so that is interrupted breathing. You will be having problem in the heartbeat, so heartbeats should be regular, okay, but they may become irregular. Patient may complain of the chest pain. There are chances of seizures means convulsions, and in severe cases there are chances of unconsciousness, where the patient will lose his or her consciousness. Now, there are a few factors, those are affecting lethality of electric shock. So, they are very simple to understand. So, in the center, we can see there is victim. Okay, so the problem of victim will be dependent on many factors. First, duration. So, definitely, if the duration is more, okay, definitely the victim has to suffer more. Severity of electric shock will be more. For example, if someone is getting electric shock for 5 seconds and someone is getting for continuously 1 minute, so definitely in case of 1 minute exposure the problem will be more. Now, pathway. So if the pathway or circuit it is established through upper limb or lower limb, the effects are not affecting your life, clear, but if it is passing from the heart, patient may die also. So pathway taken by electric current from your body, it is also very important to decide whether the effects will be harmful, okay, or patient's life will be compromised or not. Another is voltage. So definitely more the voltage, more the effect of electric shock. The simple mathematics. Skin resistance. So again here also very simple mathematics. If your skin resistance is more, definitely the less amount of current will be entering into your body and ultimately you are safe. And if your skin resistance is less, more amount of current will be entering into your body, okay, and electric shock will be more severe. Okay, so skin resistance more is good for your health and less is harmful to your health. Frequency. So high frequency will be giving undesirable effects, clear, because the heart will be having fibrillation. Type of current, so now we are mastering that. So AC, we have more severe electric shock, DC less severe electric shock, clear. Now current intensity, so definitely it is simple mathematics again. If you have more intensity, definitely the effects of electric shock will be also more. If you have less intensity, effects of electric shock will be less. Now medical uses. Now electric shock is not always unwanted or unintended. Many times we are also using electric shock or electric current as a part of treatment, okay, as a part of diagnosis also we are using, but here we are intentionally allowing the electric current to enter into patient's body. Yeah, so in that case what we need is we need control of all the parameters of electric current. Like if I am introducing current to patient's body, so its frequency, intensity, pulse duration, all these factors it is under my control. Okay, so what about the electric current you use for medical purpose, therapy purpose, diagnosis purpose? They should be carefully controlled, clear. Okay, so first example, electroconvulsive therapy, short form is also universal, ECT. So that will be useful for mental illness and mostly it is used by psychiatrists. We are also discussing many times shock apartment. Okay, surgeons they are also using this as surgical tool during this surgery, clear. So to cut any structure, okay, or to join any structure, this surgical tool it is also using electricity. Okay, sometimes we are using for the treatment of fibrillation and irregular heartbeat, clear. So for fibrillation, if the ventricle they go under fibrillation, so we have defibrillator that we will see, we have picture also of that, okay, that will be utilized. So electric current will be introduced into your body and that will give impulses to your heart. Okay, so that is also one of the use as a physiotherapist where we are using. So we are using as a method of pain relief. So just example, TENS, transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulator. Now this is just one example. Other equipments are also there which are using this electric current to be introduced into patient's body. Another example is IFT, interferential therapy. Okay, so all these are machines or equipments, those are introducing electric current into patient's body. Clear? But again, they should be carefully controlled. Fine. So these are medical uses of electric shock. Torture. Many times to get few informations from prisoners or from some war prisoners. Clear? So this type of the torturing will be used where the electric current will be used for torturing purpose. But again, this torture will not damage prisoner's body. Okay, because all the controls are there. Clear? So it is just to make person frightened. Okay, so this is just to take the information outside. So don't worry about it. It is not harmful to your victim. Clear? Now, treatment. If the shock has occurred, then what you will do? So many times when I ask this question into the classroom, so the direct answer is coming that we should go to help that victim with wooden board or wooden stick. Clear? Okay, that is right, you can do it, but before that you see that whether the switch is available or not. Clear? If you see that some person is having electric shock and he is just sticking his body to any source of electric supply. Clear? So first you see for the switch. If the switch is available, switch off. Okay, definitely there will be no electric shock. Sometimes you don't have switch in the circuit. In that case, you can directly go for main switch or fuse. Okay, so just by removing the fuse also, the patient will be cured from or separated from source of electricity. Clear? Now, if there is no switch, like if the victim is getting electric shock directly from the electric pole, those are present on roads. Clear? So if it is available on road and patient or any victim is directly in contact with that pole, so what you can use is either you use wooden stick, wooden board or rock. Clear? And you can use to pull that victim separate from this source of electricity. Okay, in any case, just by attachment of emotions, you don't touch the victim, otherwise you will be also attached to that victim. Clear? You will also get electric shock. So from source of electricity, it is entering into first victim's body, and if you touch the victim, current will enter into your body and you will be second victim of electric shock. Yeah, so that should be never practiced. Now another thing is, unless and until it is absolutely necessary, don't move the person. Patient may have fracture also, so it is nothing but traumatic injury. So many times it happens that patient has electric shock, so patient will fall on the ground, and when the patient falls on the ground, there are chances of fracture, either injury to head or neck. Clear? And when you shift this patient, so you don't know that internally there is fracture, so it is possible that we are damaging patient. So fracture may increase. Actually fracture is always stabilized, it is immobilized. Okay, it should not be allowed to move, otherwise to separate parts of the bone will increase in fracture. Clear? Okay, check for burns. So why? Because as per Joule's law, there are more chances of burns. So in that case, it is possible that initially they will not be identified, but later on they will be identified because patient is covered with the cloths. Clear? So you have to check for the burns, and if there is burn, so you go for sterile dressing, because of burns what happens, there are more chances of infection. Actually virus, bacteria, they cannot enter into the body from the skin, but if there is no skin over the particular area of the body, the virus, bacteria can directly enter into that part. Yeah, so in that case there are chances of infection, pus formation, So what we need to do is you simply go for sterile dressing. So generally for this type of the dressing, povidone iodine, we call it betadine. Betadine is available in gel form also, it is available in form of liquid also, it is available in form of powder also. Povidone iodine, I repeat, povidone iodine. So trade name it is betadine. Generally we know this povidone iodine as betadine. Clear? So that should be used to cover the part. So it will make one layer, okay, and will be working as substitute of skin, okay. So that will not allow this microorganisms to enter into body. Clear? And that should be also covered with dressing. So dressing means white color gauze piece that you can put there. Now after minor shock, allow the patient to rest, okay. So that will make this system with homeostasis, because initially the patient is frightened. Now when the patient is conscious, give something to drink. Why? Because we know that electrical stimulation will cause vasodilatation, and just because of this vasodilatation, diameter will increase but amount of blood is same, so blood pressure will reduce. Okay, actually we cannot increase blood, it is already fixed by 5 liter. Okay, differs from person to person, but on an average it is 5 liter. So what we can do is we should give fluid, so that fluid will increase the plasma level or volume of blood. Clear? So the blood pressure will be regulated. Is this clear? Diameter is increase of the blood vessel, you cannot reduce the diameter very quickly. So what you do is you increase the amount of plasma level or volume level of blood, okay. So blood pressure will be maintained. Again, by mistake, we are not supposed to give any type of the hot drink. Hot drink means either tea or coffee. It will be harmful. Why? Because the hot fluid will further cause vasodilatation. Clear? Okay. Another thing is there should be proper ventilation. Many times it happens that by fashion the clothings they are very tight. Clear? So that will be harmful to this patient because it is not allowing the proper respiratory movement of the chest wall. So the clothing should be loosened. Another thing, crowding should not be allowed to gather, because it is common scenario that we all observe that if something happens, so there will be 8-10 people or even more than that, they gather at one place where the victim is there. So actually what is the problem? Because of this gathering there will be heat, and this heat will increase the metabolism, so again more oxygen will be required. Patient is already fighting for the breath. Clear? And you are not allowing proper ventilation just because you are surrounding patient. Clear? So this gathering of the crowd should not be allowed, okay. All should be dispersed. Clear? So anyhow we have to switch on the fan, we have to open the windows, so there is proper ventilation. So patient is not fighting for breath. Now if the victim has stopped breathing, you can use this ambu bag that you can see in the figure. Ambu bag that is on the top picture. Yeah, so ambu means full form is artificial manual breathing unit. Artificial manual breathing unit. Yeah, so that will be useful. This is operated manually. Manually means we have to press it with our hands. Press it gradually and release it suddenly. Press it gradually and release it suddenly. Okay, this is how it is operated. Because why to release suddenly? Because it is related with expiration. When you press it, so air inside this ambu will enter into patient's lung, okay, and then you release it, so again the air will come outside. Okay? Now here also, what is the precaution? Don't give artificial respiration if the patient is breathing naturally, clear, or spontaneously. Artificial respiration is to be given only if the patient is not breathing, otherwise not. In the second picture you can see oxygen therapy. That lady is taking oxygen from that mask. So why this oxygen therapy will be required? Many times it is possible that patient is breathing but the amount of breathing is reduced, so patient is breathing less, we can say patient is breathing less. So what we need is oxygen. So So actually we don't inhale oxygen. What we inhale is air. Whenever we inhale the air, so that air contains 21% of oxygen. We know that. Yeah, so 21% oxygen we are also inhaling along with the air. We don't inhale purely oxygen. Yeah. Okay, so many times, just for example, if my respiratory rate is reduced or I'm having too much of exertion, I'm fighting for my breath, clear. So in that case, if pure oxygen is given or with high concentration like 40%, 60%, 80% oxygen, it is given in one single breath. So just imagine I'm taking 21% oxygen in one breath, clear. So I need to inhale many times to compensate for my oxygen requirement. But if I am given 80 to 85% of oxygen in single breath, so I am breathing oxygen of 4 breaths in one breath only, clear. So this is how oxygen therapy will be helpful. So in short, oxygen therapy will reduce the effort of breathing on the part of victim, clear. So with less effort, victim can take more oxygen. So that is the advantage of oxygen therapy. Now, if the patient's heart is not functioning, that is detected by stopped heartbeat, or that is detected by absence of radial pulse. Yeah, so radial artery, many times you have seen that doctors, they are palpating the radial artery, okay, so and they are calculating the heart rate. So if the heart is not functioning, the radial pulses will be absent and the heart is also not beating. So in that case, whatever you can see in the first picture, that should be tried. It is external cardiac massage. In detail you will learn in final year, but in short, at present you have to remember that your hands should be on sternum. You have to be in kneeling position, okay, and then give 5 centimeter movement of this hand, clear, 5 centimeter. So it will give compressions or pressure to the heart, and it serves the purpose of heart contraction, clear. So actually heart is not contracting, but by your pressure it is pumping the blood throughout the body, clear. In case heart is under fibrillation, so the second picture, it is of defibrillator. You can have 2 types of the electrodes. Those you are seeing, they are looking like iron is 3. Yeah, so that should be placed over the appropriate placement on the patient's chest wall. You might have seen this type of the placements in movie or serials. So when these 2 electrodes are placed over the chest region of the victim, okay, there will be electric shock to heart, and that may start heart again. So for that purpose that will be used. Now whatever has happened, okay, even if the victim is alert, okay, or victim is conscious, so proper examination by doctor, it is must, because many times you might be having internal injury, those may be missed, and later on you will be suffering from problem, clear. So take the patient to the doctor if the patient is alert or conscious. In case if the patient is severe, so call the doctor, okay. Medical officer should be called without delay. So anyhow, it is dependent on the situation. Either the patient should be moved to hospital or doctor should be called for proper examination of patient. Now prevention. So whatever the apparatus, machines you are using, they should be checked before use. So before you give to your patient, try on yourself. It is testing of apparatus that you will learn in electrotherapy. Before you place on patient, first time you try on you, clear. Okay, all the connections should be also checked, so that it is not having supply from any other source of electricity, clear. Generally physiotherapy department, it is safe for this abnormal connections, but many times you can think of this electric current that is coming from gas pipes, or that is coming from this other electricity lines. Those are passing from your walls of department. Yes, so any abnormal connections should not be formed between your machine and another source of supply. All the controls should be at 0. So it is simple, like if someone has operated machine before you, so you don't have control on that person, so at least you check the machine before you start that intensity knob is at 0. Clear? Then you increase intensity, and then you go for your patient. Clear? Whenever you start the machine, so give 5-10 seconds 15 seconds time for warm up of that particular machine. Clear? Intensity should be increased gradually. So as we discussed, sudden variation is also responsible for electric shock. So intensity should be increased gradually. Sudden increase or sudden decrease may give electric shock. Patient is not allowed to touch circuit during the treatment. Many busy physiotherapy clinics, they are giving this type of the practice. As the therapist is busy, they will teach the patient that if you feel more, you decrease from this knob, if you feel less, you increase from this knob. Okay, so they are giving control of intensity knob to patient, but that should not be practiced because patient is not having fine control over that knob. He may either increase suddenly or decrease suddenly, or may switch off also. Clear? Or make it 0. So in all these conditions there are chances of electric shock. So in any case the controls should not be given or taught to patient. Clear? All the apparatus should be serviced at a regular interval, generally ranging from 3 to 6 months by qualified engineer, so that any abnormality in the machine is not happening and that is not causing any accident. Covering of all the apparatus should be of insulating material, so that is by default that is done by all the companies, manufacturer companies nowadays, so that is not a major issue now. But it is possible that that insulating material is torn or that material has been removed. Yes, in that case we have to be careful that we are not touching exposed part of wire. Okay, now if you have fallen wires somewhere, either on the roads or some in factory, so always inform the police or electric company, and proper maintenance is necessary, otherwise many people may get electric shock. Now it is practiced since many years that if our hands are wet, our parents will not allow the switches of any electric object, maybe fan, tube light, TV. So it is always advisable that don't touch with your wet hands, and especially when you are standing in water, especially it happens in bathroom, toilet. Okay, sometimes in rainy season your feet they're already wet, so that should not be practiced. And especially bathtub, generally bathtub we are not using much here, but in developed country they are using bathtub, so it is possible that they are in bathtub only and their only head is outside of the water and they are operating some electric device, so they may get electric shock. Okay? So if any instrument is having wires, okay, or cords means they are leads, wires only, okay, they are torn or they are not having proper continuity, so you should replace without delay, otherwise they may cause any abnormal connection in the circuit and may be responsible for electric shock. Cover all the electric sockets with plastic safety caps. These are very simple and cheaper way of keeping your kids safe. Clear? There are plastic caps, so they are like plug. Okay, we have plug and we have socket. So when you have plug in the socket, it is fine, but when you don't have plug in the socket, so these holes they are open, so our fingers they are large one, but the kids they are having smaller fingers, so they can directly introduce their finger into their this socket. Yeah, and they are playing actually, but they may get electric shock, so cover this with plastic safety caps. Okay, so these are simple caps, those you can attach when the socket is free, and when you want to attach the plug, remove the cap and again use the plug. Clear? Now whenever you are doing repairing of any electronic apparatus, you should remove the fuse. Clear? And you should switch off the option, whatever. For example, if you are operating computer, you are repairing computer, so the power supply should be cut. Okay, so you should switch off that particular object. If you are changing the electric light, okay, many times we are doing this. Okay, someone is removing the light and new light is installed. So in that case the switch should be off, otherwise we may get electric shock. I hope that you have understood everything. Whatever I explained, it is not going into detail like it is explained in this diagram. If you have any question, you can ask. Thank you.
I hope that lecture was informative for you. Now I'm going to show you one funny video related to electric shock, but I request that it is just for fun.